We arrived at my granny's house quite late that night, and it was so strange to open her front door and walk inside, with my husband this time. We were exhausted after travelling for 3 days, so we dumped our gear on the floor and went straight to bed. I awoke to loud knocking at my granny's front door at her wee house in Kirkcaldy the next morning. Granny Jackson had been placed in a nursing home by this stage, and we were going to pick her up with her and take her to the wedding with us. I opened the front door, and 3 of my Scottish aunties were vying for position on the doorstep in a haze of taffeta, veiled hats and perfume. "Och, lass, how you've grown, so broad to seeing." I was hugged and kissed and squeezed within an inch of my life. I greeted them all and introduced Bill. They were all laughing at our Australian accents, and they said they felt they were in an episode of Neighbours, which was huge in the UK at the time. My cousins even came home from work at lunchtime to watch it. Bill and I went to see Granny with most of my aunties and cousins in tow. I saw her straight away, waiting for us to arrive with her powder puff, white hair and pale blue suit, complete with a white rose on her lapel, all jazzed up for the wedding. I ran up and gave her the biggest hug with tears streaming down my face. "I told you I would come back," I sniffled into her shoulder. We stayed in that embrace for what seemed like hours. I was so happy to see my granny again. Sitting in the church with all the Scottish side of the family felt like a dream. I had to pinch myself to make sure it was happening. My cousin was a stunning bride, and her new husband wore a kilt and full Scottish traditional dress. We laughed and toasted the bride and groom. I got up and sang "When I Fall in Love" by Nat King Cole with 4 of my aunties, in 3-part harmony, without any rehearsal. What a brilliant day it was. I sat and wrote to Dad when I got back to Granny's place, telling him all the latest family news. It was so fantastic to be back home in Scotland again. I remembered the note that I had written in 1975 and pushed under the loose board behind the loo in Granny's bathroom. I went to look for it, and it was still there, 13 years later. It said, "If you are reading this in the future, I am glad that you made it back, and are the Bay City rollers still popular?" Bill and I had a great laugh about this. We travelled to Aberdeen and caught the North Sea ferry to Shetland. Once again, I was seasick all the way to Lerwick, the capital of Shetland. I spent the voyage lying on my bunk in our cabin, feeling green, while Bill downed whiskey in the ferry bar. My gorgeous cousin Brenda and her new husband Gordon were rapt to meet us at the ferry terminal, and we hugged each other in total glee. While I was staying with Brenda and Gordon, I cooked our evening meals to do my bit as a helpful guest. Before I left Shetland, I wrote down all my recipes in a journal, and I gave them to Brenda as a thank you gift. She had enjoyed my lasagna in particular, and said that she would learn how to make it. Many pints and whisky chasers were consumed as we toured around visiting the rallies. Shetlanders are such welcoming, kind people, and Bill thought he was in heaven. One night we were at the Lerwick pub, and an old guy came up and asked me if I was related to his old best mate. It turned out that Popper and he had been friends for many years and played together in the 40 Fiddlers. A huge evening ensued, with many people shaking my hand to say they were my cousin once removed or knew my mum's family. I think we visited every pub on the main island of Shetland and quite a few on the other 3 islands as well. Brenda and Gordon took us to the ferry terminal 3 times because the weather was shocking and the ferry couldn't sail because of the gale force winds. We were secretly pleased each time the ferry got cancelled because it meant we got to stay for another day. Every time I leave Shetland, I feel like my heart is going to break. The landscape is so majestic and stark, as Shetland is quite treeless due to the fierce winds. It is both terrifying and hauntingly beautiful at the same time. There is so much honesty and humbleness in the people. They are just the kindest people I have ever met. I just don't know how Nana and Papa found the courage to leave this incredible place. Once more, I told Brenda that I would return, and we set sail back to Aberdeen in Scotland.